Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to get into those complex topics and hopefully get those aha moments without feeling like you're drowning in info.
Exactly.
Today, we're stepping onto the volleyball court. But, it's more than just a court, right? It feels like a lab sometimes.
It really does. A dynamic laboratory where you've got science, math, innovation, all kind of colliding in real time.
Yeah, every single jump, every serve, every spike. It's like watching physics in action.
hmm And that's our mission for this deep dive, really. We want to unpack the intricate mechanics of volleyball, starting right from the ground up.
So what are we focusing on specifically?
We're going to zero in on three really critical elements. First, the foundation. That's footwork and stance. Then the hands, grip, and hand position. Those subtle but powerful details.
Okay.
And finally, the moment of impact. The contact point and the follow-through. That's where it all comes together.
And we've pulled together a pretty wide range of sources for this, haven't we? Everything from coaching manuals, breaking down the basics.
All the way to some pretty cutting-edge research using sensing tech, even AI analysis, looking at player movements.
Right. So it should give you, our listener, a really rich, maybe even surprising look at the game's core mechanics.
Let's hope so. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So groundwork first. Footwork and stance. Where do we start?
Well, you start at the start, right? Effective play, honestly, it just fundamentally begins with strong footwork and a really solid stance.
And that's especially true for younger players.
Oh, absolutely. For
Mhm.
elementary school players, getting balance and stability down isn't just about, not falling over. It's crucial. It directly impacts their body control, their posture, and maybe most importantly, injury prevention.
Right.
These skills are the absolute bedrock for doing anything else in volleyball, well-serving, passing, blocking, you name it.
So it's not just about speed then, getting to the ball fast. I feel like that's a common idea.
That's a great point. Speed matters, sure, but the big misconception is thinking it's just about linear speed, like running sprints. It's really more about agility and coordination. We're talking precise footwork, quick lateral movements, shuffling. That ability to change direction on a dime while staying totally in control.
Okay. That makes sense. It's like quick adjustments.
Exactly. Think of it like having a really responsive suspension system on a car, not just a big engine. You need both, but the control is key.
Can you give us an example? Like, how does this specific footwork play out during a pass or a set?
Sure. So imagine you're receiving a serve or an attack. The first thing is positioning your body to face where the ball's coming from.
Okay.
But here's the crucial bit. You have to move your feet quickly to get into that optimal passing stance. You can't just plant yourself and hope the ball comes to you.
Right. You see players reaching sometimes.
Exactly. And that's the principle. Move to the ball, don't just reach or lunge. Moving your feet sets up your whole platform. Reaching throws you off balance, you lose control, accuracy drops.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
So getting your feet there sets up the whole body. What about for the more, let's say, explosive actions like attacking or blocking?
Well, for attackers, that proper footwork, the approach, is absolutely key. The steps, the timing, how they transfer energy from the ground up into the jump and swing, it all starts with the feet. And for middle blockers, anticipation is huge, obviously, reading the setter and hitter. But even the best anticipation is useless without excellent footwork and lateral movement. They need to move quickly along the net to close the block, no matter where the attack is coming from.
That lateral speed seems critical for blockers.
It is. Without that quick, precise side-to-side movement, they're always going to be a step late, leaving gaps.
It sounds like a ton of coordination to drill down. How do coaches actually teach this? What kind of drills work?
Yeah, it takes practice. Our sources mention some really good ones. There's the classic quick feet drill players stepping rapidly between cones, maybe 5–10 feet apart. The focus is pace, staying light on the feet.
Like dancing, almost.
Kinda, yeah. Then there's the zigzag drill, weaving through cones.
Okay.
That builds agility, balance, but also that quick change of direction you need constantly in a game. And good coaches weave dynamic stretches into warm-ups too. Things like standing leg extensions or pulling your knee to your chest. They prep the key muscles, legs, hips, shoulders, core for these specific volleyball movements.
All right, foundation laid with footwork. Now, let's say you're in that perfect position, feet set. What's next? It has to be the hands.
Absolutely. How you contact the ball is the next critical piece. Hand and arm position. That dictates pretty much everything. Control, trajectory, power.
And it's different for different skills, I assume.
Massively different. Take passing, for example. The sources emphasize proper hand and forearm technique. The goal is to create a stable, effective platform.
The platform, yeah. You hear coaches yelling that.
Right. It's not just bumping it, it's clasping the hands, extending the forearms, making a solid, flat surface to direct the ball accurately, usually towards the setter.
Okay, so passing is about stability. Setting seems like the opposite, pure finesse.
It really is almost an art form. Setters need precise setting skills. They're using their fingertips, not the palms, to guide the ball with incredible control and accuracy.
Needs amazing touch.
Definitely. Excellent hand-eye coordination, touch, and control. That's what the guides say. They have to put the ball in the perfect spot for the hitter time after time, like a perfect pass in basketball or football.
So then we get to hitting, spiking. That's where the power comes in, but it's still about control, right? The sources say attackers strike the ball cleanly using their wrists, arms, or hands to control its trajectory.
Correct. It's not just swinging hard. Precision matters. And you mentioned that AI analysis finding, the arm angle.
Yeah. Get the average player's arm angle relative to vertical for a spike is around 33.7 degrees. That's specific.
That is incredibly precise, and it tells you just how much science is involved, being off by just a few degrees.
Does it matter that much? Like 40 degrees instead of 33?
Oh, absolutely. You'd likely lose power because the energy transfer isn't optimal, and you'd lose control. The ball might sail long or hit the net or not have that sharp downward angle. It's a tiny margin between good and great.
Wow. Okay. What about serving? Especially something like a topspin serve.
That wrist snap is everything for topspin. Generating that spin relies on snapping the wrist and striking the ball at the right angle. That action makes the ball dive quickly after clearing the net, making it tough to pass.
And blocking. What's the hands role there beyond just getting in the way?
It's very specific. Middle blockers need proper hand positioning to, as the coaches say, seal the net and close the block.
Seal the net. What does that mean exactly?
It means getting your hands and arms over the net as far as possible, pressing them tightly together so there's no gap for the ball to sneak through. And closing the block means working with your teammates on either side to form a solid wall.
Ah, okay. So it's about creating an impenetrable barrier.
Exactly. Redirecting the attack ideally straight down or forcing an error. It's not just passive, it's an active deflection.
Okay, so we've gone from the feet through the hands, which brings us to that critical moment. The contact point and the follow-through. You called it the moment of truth?
I think it is. This is where everything we've just talked about, the footwork, the hand position, the body control, all converges. It's the instant the player's intent gets transferred to the ball. Success or failure often hinges right here.
So for hitting, spiking, it's about that clean strike again.
Clean strike, optimal power, optimal control. It involves that refined arm swing technique we touched on, but also smart shot selection, hitting the ball where the defense isn't.
And biomechanically speaking, what's the goal?
The goal is to maximize torque and minimize energy loss. Basically get the most powerful rotational force, that whip-like action, through the ball while being super efficient so no power is wasted in, say, poor body positioning or unnecessary movement.
Right. And remember that detail about the jump smash timing, hitting it right at the peak.
Yes. The best timing is to hit the ball at the highest point in the jump, when the player briefly hangs still in the air. That tiny moment of suspension.
Why is that the sweet spot?
It's when you're at your maximum reach, allowing for the steepest possible downward angle on the spike. Harder to dig. Plus, you have maximum stability and potential for power transfer right at that peak, just before gravity really takes over again.
And they even measured the trajectory, something like 135 degrees relative to horizontal.
Yeah, another one of those precise AI metrics. It quantifies that ideal downward path.
Okay, and for serving, that follow-through seems important, especially for topspin.
Crucial. The follow-through, driven by that wrist snap and the full arm swing, guides the ball. It ensures it clears the net with the right speed and that diving spin. And, mastering simpler serves first, like underhand or float serves, builds the foundation for these trickier ones. Each has its own specific contact and follow-through.
So even for passing and setting, where it's not a hit per se, there's still a kind of follow-through and intention.
Absolutely. It might not be a big swing, but the contact has to ensure the ball is directed to their intended target. There's a deliberate, controlled push or guide. That implied follow-through is vital for accuracy, setting up the offense, and making sure the ball doesn't just pop up randomly or go out of bounds. Precision in every touch.
This really loops back to what we said at the start. Volleyball is a laboratory. And technology seems to be taking that to a whole new level now.
It really is. It's becoming a huge part of understanding and refining these mechanics.
What kind of tech are we talking about?
Well, modern sensing technologies are making a big impact. Things like inertial measurement units, IMUs, little sensors players wear, and even things like pressure-sensitive floors.
IMUs, what do they track?
Incredible detail. Systems like Kinexon perform track player movements, how quickly they change direction, jump, height and frequency, speed, acceleration, all of it.
Wow.
It gives coaches objective data on performance, but also on player load. Are they overtraining? Are they at risk of injury? This helps optimize everything.
And the fact they're portable, that's huge. You can track them anywhere, not just in a lab.
Exactly. Game changer for real-world insights. But it goes beyond just tracking. AI is getting incredibly good at action recognition and even giving real-time feedback.
Like identifying a pass versus a set automatically.
Precisely. Systems can now detect and classify actions, the bump, forearm pass, the set, the spike, with really high accuracy. One study mentioned achieved 96.24% accuracy.
96%. What does that mean practically for a player?
It means instant feedback. Imagine you're practicing. An AI system, maybe connected to a camera, can tell you immediately if your bump form was correct, if your set hands were right, if your spike contact was off.
So faster correction.
Much faster. There are actual applications, like a bump set spike trainer, using this tech. It provides feedback right away to help steer player behavior, correcting mistakes almost as they happen. It can even train specific timing, like that smash jump timing, telling you if you hit the ball at the peak of your jump or too early late.
That's incredible. So it's not just tracking, it's analyzing and coaching.
Getting there, yes. AI systems analyze video, track everything, player movement, ball flight, game patterns, and this data can feed into virtual coaching assistants.
A virtual coach?
Yeah, think of an AI platform suggesting personalized drills, like your spike angle tends to be too shallow on outside hits. Try these 3 drills to improve it. Or your setting accuracy drops after 20 minutes. Here's a stamina drill. It uses those precise biomechanical angles we talked about, arm angle, trajectory, to give targeted advice.
That sounds like a massive help for coaches, especially if they have large teams.
It really is. It helps overcome challenges like high player-to-coach ratios. The AI provides data-driven insights, flags things for the coach to look at, suggests corrections. It makes coaching potentially much more efficient and effective.
Okay, so wrapping this up for our listener, we've gone deep into the mechanics, from feet to fingertips and even into the tech. What's the big picture?
I think the big picture is that mastering these mechanics, footwork, grip, contact, follow-through, it's just fundamental. There's no shortcut around diligent practice.
Yeah.
But now, combining that practice with the insights from technology, from sensing and AI, that offers a pathway to improvement that's more precise and personalized than ever before.
So you, listening, should now have a pretty solid grasp of these core elements and how tech is pushing the boundaries of training and understanding.
Hopefully, yes. A good foundation.
But here's a final thought to leave it with. Even with all this amazing tech, AI measuring every angle, every millisecond of contact, how much, at the end of the day, still comes down to the unquantifiables. The athlete's willpower, their attitude, that mental toughness. How much is that still the ultimate factor in turning perfect mechanics into winning plays?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something for us all to think about.